Hello and welcome back to the channel. We have an absolute riot of a film for you today. Liam Neeson and the kid from Stranger Things, the Fungus. What more could you possibly ask for? I mean, science fiction, horror, comedy. A new genre maybe? Who knows? But it is absolutely brilliant. The movie gods have answered our prayers. Finally, it's funny, outrageous. It has some amazing character beats, especially between its two leads, Joe Keery, who plays Tea Cake, and Georgina Campbell, who plays Naomi, and together they are the heartbeat of the film. And also Liam Neeson makes a rather amazing appearance. So, with that in mind, let's get into it. So the story of cold storage is essentially about NASA conducting these highly volatile and dangerous experiments up in space around the early sort of 2000s time. And these experiments are so dangerous they can't be conducted on Earth. So they have them do it up in the space station where it's away from people and things and anything it can come into contact with. So it's all like vacuum sealed and very sort of highly pressurized environment so that it can conduct these chemical experiments and things like that away from stuff, like I said. So by pure accident, somehow it loses its orbit around Earth and crashes through the atmosphere. Most of it breaks up and gets destroyed and burns out in the atmosphere until a little piece of this space station survives re-entry and lands in Australia. And so basically one of the people in Australia living in this like sort of remote village in Australia in the Northern Territories finds this part of the lab and thinks, oh, this is a good idea. What I'm going to do is turn this into a tourist attraction, and decides to pay people to come and see this space trash that has like fallen from the skies, fallen from space, and doesn't realize what he's basically done is signed his own death warrant. The whole village dies without an explanation, and everyone is infected by whatever was contained in this little part of the space station. One survivor, however, makes it out and calls multiple people to try and get help, and then a team has been dispatched to go and investigate what has happened. You call in the experts. This is where Liam Neeson's character, Robert Quinn, comes in, and he investigates with his little team of people with a doctor specifically for what's going on in the experiments. And so she comes in to like ascertain the situation, what's involved, and figure out generally what's happening. And things go wrong. The container, what's inside, spreads. What infected the entire village also infects the team, and so they're fighting each other to try and contain this outbreak. And so what they do is they call in reinforcements. They come in, they completely nuke this entire town from orbit to contain everything. They do manage to get a sample, however, and so when Liam Neeson's character Robert Quinn gets the sample, he's able to sort of secure it in a high security storage facility that will be able to help contain this entity, this fungus, this virus that is causing all these issues. And so he is able to secure it, or so he thought. So basically the film is set sort of 20 years into the future, and what has happened is the storage facility, the super secure secret military base where this violent substance is being secured in, is basically now a storage facility, but not for chemicals or anything like that. Over the 20 years, the military base has changed hands and it's been sold off and been sort of changed and adapted into various different facilities, but now in the present it is just a regular storage unit for general public and the members of the general public to be able to come in and use and store and hoard whatever it is they need to. And this is where we come into contact with Joe Keery's character, Tea Cake, who is working at this site and is working this job. It's been there for a long time. He also has a bit of a checkered past, which you find out later on. But he is extremely likable and talkative and outgoing and very, very sort of friendly guy, and has got to train the new person that has started. This is Naomi. This is Georgina Campbell's character, Naomi. So she comes in. She's almost sort of like your girl next door, very sort of quiet, also has a bit of a checkered past as well, and is there also trying to sort of change her life around and have a stable sort of work to. She's got a family, she's got a kid, so she's trying to become a mother and provide for her family. Whilst on this night shift on their own, they discover that something's beeping, and they're not sure where this beeping sound is coming from. It's not part of the storage facility that they are currently working in, and they're like trying to investigate. So it becomes a bit of a mystery of where this beeping sound is coming from. Then they realize it's coming from a, behind a wall that has been completely boarded up and covered up with like a new wall, and it's got a painting on it. And so they're like, it's coming from in there. Let's find out, shall we? So they bash through this wall and they discover that where they have been working all this time is actually the secret security facility where they initially stored the virus from the events that happened in Australia about 20 years ago. And so what's beeping is actually the containment facility is failing. And so it's essentially a story of these two characters that have got to try and survive whatever is happening. So they go to investigate this containment facility and find out where and what is causing the issues, and they call for help, and that's when the government steps in and sends help, and that's where we get back to Liam Neeson's character Robert Quinn, who has experienced this disaster before and has expert knowledge in how everything is working. So he comes in to help out, and then it's just a question of them trying to survive this highly volatile and infectious fungus that is going around infecting all the people around them. So yeah, that's the story. It's wild. It's mental. So this film is actually very, very good. It does something very well, which doesn't take itself too seriously. It's very sort of tongue-in-cheek, and you feel that straight away when the first words are spoken in the film. And so it's really clever, because I think if it were to take itself too seriously, I think because of the outrageousness of it all, it wouldn't work, I don't think. And Liam Neeson's delivery in this is terrific. He's very good at the sort of deadpan comedy acting, and in small doses as well. He's very good at playing the straight man, but also in like extraordinary circumstances, and he does this type of comedy very well. What I don't particularly like is when he does it as a whole movie, like for example in Naked Gun, where he does like a full straight comedy. It doesn't particularly work well in that scenario. But with this film, where it's just him as a straight hero, sort of bad back veteran hero who comes in to help and secure and contain the situation, like he does this role very, very well. He plays the hero very, very well, and so his performance is terrific. Also, Joe Keery does a great job as playing the sort of broken and former sort of prisoner inmate trying to turn his life around and not live by his past mistakes and improve his life by working at this facility. He says at one point, yeah, it's a shitty job, but it's my shitty job, and these people like accepted me, despite my past. And so each character has actually got like a fully fledged story, which is really great, considering like it's an outrageous sort of B movie monster horror film. Amazing what they did with these characters. You just wouldn't have thought that in this type of a movie. Georgina Campbell, I keep thinking Naomi Campbell, I don't know why, but Georgina Campbell's character is really likable as well, and they've got such great chemistry. They are very opposite personalities as well. She's actually a bit quieter compared to Joe Keery's character, who's very talkative and very likable character as well. And she's playing the mother sort of girl next door role who's trying to figure this job out and trying to see how everything works, and under the guidance of Joe Keery's character. And there's really sort of well crafted characters here. What they do really well as well is that the way they depict the fungus and how it infects people around them and animals and all that sort of stuff. Like, it does this kind of Fast and Furious sort of zoom in type thing, if you know what I mean. So if you remember in the Fast and Furious where Paul Walker presses the nitrous oxide button on the steering wheel, it sort of goes into the car mechanics and the engine, and finally you see the fuel squirt into the engine and giving him that extra boost. They kind of do like a similar sort of thing here with the fungus and how it infects everything around it, which is really kind of cool. It's like a good sort of effect that they got going on. Also, they do a great job of using practical effects and also CGI, which is really great, especially when the infection just explodes. Like, it is really dramatic. It is really great, and you'll find yourself like cheering. You'll find yourself laughing at moments that you probably shouldn't laugh at, and you're finally rooting for characters that you actually believe in. You sit there and you see that these people are really struggling with the situation and what's going on, and it's really well done. I can't really fault this film at all. It's literally what we've been waiting for quite some time now. It actually also, despite being this kind of a film, deals with very different and difficult themes of like loyalty versus heroism, age versus duty, and friendship, and all these types of themes, quite big themes that is dealing with. So it works on so many different levels, and I think you're going to get like a real kick out of it. It also pays homage to the creature features and 1980s, 1990s sort of monster horror films that you may remember, films such as The Thing and Tremors. It's terrific, to the point where I don't know if they did this on purpose, but the start of the film, when they're in Australia, all the bodies are up on the roofs, and you find out that the infection, the fungus, basically controls you so that you go up to the highest point to spread the virus as much as possible when the body explodes, so you get more room. So you see the bodies up on the roof, and it's a desert-like environment. I immediately went, Tremors. That's Tremors. That's where my mind went. And little did I know that afterwards, the doctor who is in the film is actually played by Kevin Bacon's daughter, Saoirse, whatever the fuck her name is, Saoirse Bacon. So whether or not they did that on purpose, I don't know, but it's quite a funny sort of tongue-in-cheek thing that they're doing there, which is quite funny. They just don't take themselves seriously at all. And Liam Neeson is having an absolute blast playing like the grumpy old man. He's sort of taking the piss out of himself because he's now in his 70s and he's like still doing like these action hot comedy horror type films, and like he has this recurring joke that is like back is hurting, and he's can't move as well as he used to, and he's trying to put the nuke on his back, so it's really struggling with it, and he's very slow, and yet he still somehow comes out as the hero and saves the day. He is relentless. So even despite all these different things that are happening to him, like he still comes out ahead no matter what. And yeah, this film will have you laughing, crying, cheering, will have you fist pumping the air, and it's absolute riot of a film, and they do some real clever things as well, especially with like the passage of time, like the scene where the secret military facility changes hands through the years. They do a clever time lapse where you see it being boarded up, you see it change hands and become different companies over time, and then the final and opening scene is the moment where it becomes like the storage facility, and that's where the story starts. And little clever little tiny things like that just really make this film work amazingly. And it's written by the guy who wrote Jurassic Park, so you know it's got like good sort of writing and knowledge of story in there as well. So definitely go and check this film out. You won't regret it. It's so much fun, and it's a it's just a great ride, and just what we need right now when the weather's a little bit dark and a little bit gloomy, and it's everyone's a little bit depressed, and it's just what we need, just what we need, and a great palate cleanser. To a lot of the films that have been out recently have been quite serious, so yeah, this will fulfill you in ways that you couldn't imagine. So definitely go check this film out. I've also done a little review on my Letterboxed as well. I'll put a link in the description as well, so you can see that. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Peace.